Okay, everybody, Real Deal Video Strategist Club. We're like back-to-back Zoom lives over the last couple of days, which is awesome. I'm super glad that we've been able to have so much time together and do trainings, do Q&As, do introductions to some of our new people in the group that are going to be awesome resources for you. Renee Law was awesome today. She's a tax professional. So if you guys have any tax questions, or are looking for somebody to handle your bookkeeping or your tax preparation, tax planning, stuff like that, I highly recommend her. I use her and she's awesome. But I did promise that I would do a question and answer session, just, wide open, about a topic that I think a lot of people have interest in. At least everybody had, a response to it. So over the last about year and a half, what I calculated was that I've generated about $385,000 in revenue from 4 different industries: home building, custom home builders, direct primary care practices, which we've done a whole training, a club throwdown and training on direct primary care practices and why they're awesome and why you need to go close deals with them and why they'll pay you a lot of money. Also home services. So things like home security services, roofing companies, general contractors, stuff like that. And then the last one was tech startup companies. So again, I've kind of calculated what I've made from just those 4 industries alone, and it ended up adding up to $385,000 in business for my company. So straight up open question and answer session. I'm going to check in the YouTube page, or not the YouTube page, the Facebook page. If you're watching Facebook Live, leave a comment. Let me know that you're here. That way I can see that there's people watching. And if you have a question, feel free to ask the question in the Facebook group. And let me just bring these up real quick so I'm not missing any questions real quick. Session. I'm going to check in the, and that goes for both the paid group and the free group. Session. I'm going to check in the YouTube. So if you guys are either in the paid group or the free group, I am monitoring the Facebook. And if you have questions about any of these industries or doing business with them or landing deals, send them my way. So I'll kind of get out of the way with this, guys. And what questions do you guys have about working with any of these industries? Don't all be shy. I don't have a presentation for this, guys. It's just that a lot of people seem to have questions about, how to land deals in these, how to work with these, how to structure deals, retainers, what to charge, like any of that stuff. If you have questions, go ahead and put them out there.
Okay. I am a member of my Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
And there are a bunch of connections in there. There's like something like 10,000 businesses locally. How would you recommend I reach out to them without seeming obnoxious or salesy?
Yeah, so this is a real good question. So your Chamber of Commerce, any sort of networking groups that you go to, Chamber of Commerce, BNI's, 1 Million Cups, Buzz, Business Over Breakfast, any of those networking groups are going to be chock full of opportunities, especially with the home services companies. So roofers, plumbers, general contractors, home security services, any of those kind of services are going to be in these networks. And really, when you go to networking groups, my goal is never to try to sell anything, more to build relationships with the people in that network and say things in a way that piques their curiosity and get them to ask me questions about why video is good, video strategy is good for their business. And Derek, so I did a whole training on this. Were you in that training of how to turn your one-on-one conversations into leads and deals?
I believe so, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So I've got like the main thing is that when you go to a networking group, there's different formats. Sometimes it's just a straight up mixer, right? You go meet at a restaurant for happy hour and people just kind of mingle and you start up conversations with the people who are there. And you kind of meet and then set up one-on-ones and stuff like that. So that's a very informal one. There's also very formal ones where we'll have a structure and an agenda and a schedule to the meeting. and they'll go through their agenda. Everybody has like a 30-second pitch where you kind of tell everybody what it is that you do, just an introduction. And then you have a chance to mingle after the meeting. So my goal is to go to these meetings, and as everybody's kind of going around the table and introducing themselves and what they do, I have a pen and a paper and I'm writing down everybody who I think might be a good connection for me or potential business for me. And as soon as that meeting concludes, I go right to those people and I schedule a one-on-one conversation with them. So something as simple as just say, hey, I'm very interested to speak with you. I want to get connected with people in your industry. When do you have time to go get some coffee or do a Zoom call or go grab some lunch? Let's get something on the schedule. So when you go to the networking meetings, that's it. It's like super, super easy. And then once you go to the one-on-one conversations, that's where you have a chance to really in-depth tell somebody what you do, and they tell you the same. And the idea is, I want to know what you do so I can send referrals over to you, and you want to know what I do so you can send referrals over to me. So I never try to sell them anything, but I do sell myself or prop myself up in a way that makes them say, David, I want to talk with you more about doing this for my company, because what you're saying sounds like something that I need that I don't have right now. Can we have a further discussion and conversation? If you missed that training, if you guys are watching now and you missed that training on how to turn your one-on-one conversations into actual leads, that is recorded and live streamed into the paid group. Super, super valuable. That one's only in the paid group, because that honestly is going to help you close a ton of deals. So I recommend you guys going and watching that. And I talk about how to do that without seeming super, super salesy. Okay, Derek. So maybe just go back and watch that and get some ideas from it.
So I guess what I would like, I would feel a lot more comfortable doing it in person. Right now, we are not doing anything in person. I'm dying for the chance to have one of these mixers, because I'm going to do exactly that. Right now, I'm a new business just added, and it's all online. So that adds an extra level of a lack of humanity, I guess, to the first little bit. Would you recommend doing kind of the same thing, like reaching out to them, just being like, hey, I'm just looking to connect to people in your industry over the internet, or should I maybe wait until we're back in person?
Do not wait. And the reason I say do not wait is because COVID has conditioned us at this point to be doing a lot of this stuff virtually. And in fact, it's made a lot of this networking more efficient. So I don't see that it's going to, like, there's going to be a space for people to connect virtually through Zoom sessions instead of, going to actual physical meetings. There's a lot of stuff going on, this Delta variant and all this stuff, whatever, some places are going to say, well, let's all meet. And some people are going to be like, no, let's not meet. So either way, business is not stopping. And there's plenty of networking groups that are still meeting virtually. I was just on one, a brand new one that I hadn't been to. And I hopped on there and I met like 2 or 3 people that were very interested. I scheduled 2 one-on-ones, and then they started asking me about what I do, because they're thinking about launching a course. And I talked about that, and they were like, hey, go figure, I'm thinking about launching a course. And now I have 2 leads. And that was done from this seat right here. I didn't leave my house. It's right here. So business can be generated right here. I personally like going to these meetings better. I like interacting with people, but at the same time, it's much more efficient if I can go to a bunch of those meetings from right here in my office than traveling all over town to go to these. So don't wait, just hop in them and knock those out.
Cool. So business as usual, basically. Just keep at it.
Absolutely. Business isn't stopping, guys. COVID is not stopping the business world. It is changing the way that we do business, but it is not stopping business. That is going to continue. Everybody that owns a business or runs a business right now, they're in the fight, right? They still want to grow. They still want to be profitable. Nobody's laying down their sword and saying, well, just because we can't, meet in person, then my business is dying, right? A lot of businesses have died, but there's a lot of businesses out there that are really thriving right now because they're making that adjustment and pivot. So don't hesitate to do everything virtually if you have to.
Yeah, Derek, and if I can add to it too, man, I just joined my local chamber of commerce, And I need to practice more of what David was talking about with how to like really qualify those leads, because at first I was planting seeds. However, just to, I guess, share how many calls that I've been able to get within the last, I think, 2 months that I've been a part of it. I've had at least somewhere around 10 one-on-ones via Zoom that I've been able to get through those the Chamber of Commerce meetings and whatnot. So oftentimes I'll just send a direct message to them, getting their information, and then I'll send them a video through email, like through Loom or BombBomb or something like that. Just like quickly after that, saying it was nice to connect. Would love to get in contact. I really like using Loom because it has that call to action at the end of it. And so I like banked on the free version right away and put my Calendly link in there. And bro, like honestly, out of all the people that I sent it to, every single one of them that actually opened that email watched the video, and every single one of them said, yo, I love that you hit me up via video, bro. Like hands down. And
I love that. I
that
love that.
really helped them to like just schedule a call through Calendly, and we were set, bro. We were set.
Yeah, dude, video email is fire, dude. That is a surefire way to get somebody's attention, and they're like, oh dang, this guy is actually practicing what he's preaching. So yeah, dude, business ain't stopping. Go out there and get it. If you want to be successful, you want to be profitable, you got to go get sales. You got to go meet people. You can't sell anything if you're not talking to anybody, period. Right? That's basics. Got to get those meetings and those interactions. So yeah, step those up, right, Eric?
On it.
Right on. Okay, cool. What other questions you guys have? I've got zero agenda today. I don't have anything written down. I'm just answering questions about working in these four industries: home builders, direct primary care physicians, tech companies, home services companies. What you guys got?
I guess I got a quick question. If you're getting into a new industry, are you typically finding yourself giving a discounted rate from what you will be charging as you kind of get into that industry, or do you still find yourself charging like what you would like full price for that strategy?
I still charge full price, but I'm at a different place in business than a lot of people. And it really depends on what's necessary and what their priorities and goals are for any sort of video strategy, right? My intention is that whenever I'm working with a client, my whole goal and my purpose is to get people to take the actions that they want people to take. So buy more of my products, invest in my company like a tech startup, right? So I've been working for tech startups. They want investors. They want VCs and angel investors to invest. How do we get those people to do that? How do I get people to hire? All the stuff that I preach about, right? I don't discount my services because I'm still going to find a solution. In all reality, all I'm doing is capturing the information in video and putting it in front of the right people to see it. And that's going to be the same value regardless if I'm new to that industry or not. But Tomas, to answer your question, because I know a lot of people have that, like, I've never filmed this industry. I'm not as confident. And there's that feeling of, should I charge full price? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, basically, man, because I haven't been able to fully get things going in some of the industries, like dental industry, for instance. So I'm wondering if I should be taking a different approach.
So, I mean, like I said, I charge a normal price. A dentist increasing their leads and patients is the same as a roofing company increasing their leads and sales, right? We're getting people to go in their doors, right? The targeting is going to be different. The strategy in the video might be slightly different, but in all reality, we're trying to do the same thing. So I wouldn't overthink that. If you want to try to get your foot in the door, like, okay, I want to be niche. I want to go create videos for every direct primary care physician in my state. That's the niche that I want to go to, and you want to get something under your belt. You can't approach it in a way like, okay, hey, I'm brand new to this industry. I'm very interested in filming in this industry. What I'd be willing to do is create a video for you. Okay, we'll film it. If you like it, you can purchase it. If you don't like it, then you don't have to purchase it, but I can use it for my portfolio. And that way, at least we can kind of work together. I've seen people do that in the past. And that's certainly a way to get your foot in the door to at least get some video content in that industry. But like I said, once you meet them and you speak with them and you go through a discovery process and you're able to articulate your value of what you can do for their priorities, it really doesn't matter the industry, dude. If you can execute and get them the value, then you should be able to charge normal price. Okay, any questions from the Facebook? If you guys are watching on Facebook, go ahead and just shoot me your questions. I see that Alan said, wait, he's missing this. Wait, he hopped in there. He is. Good stuff. Welcome back, Scott Rippey. It's been a while since you've been on a Zoom session. Did he disappear? Oh, no, there he is.
No, I'm here.
Coming live from the new studio. I love it. What's going on, Scott?
Not much. Yeah, I know I've been missing a lot of these, so it's nice to kind of hop on one. You've probably gone over some of this, and I jumped in a little late, but I think I was just curious as to what direct primary care deals you were involved in, because I didn't really hear about any of those, just in general, maybe like an overview. I was curious.
Yeah, so direct primary care is an awesome, awesome industry. I'll give you a nutshell breakdown, and then if you want to, you can go watch the trainings that we did last week and this week. So direct primary care is it's changing the way that people pay for their medical treatments when it comes to your primary care physician. Generally speaking, everybody has an insurance card. So if you get sick and you want to go see your primary care doctor, you take your insurance card, you give it to them at the desk, you check in, you go into the office, the nurse or the assistant comes and takes your vital signs, they take a few notes. And then the doctor comes in and sees you for like 3 minutes, writes you a prescription, and then they're gone, and then they charge you a whole bunch of money, right? So there's a lack of quality of care just because everything is based on what the insurance companies want the doctors to do. The insurance companies are the puppet masters, right? They're telling the doctors, you need to see X number of patients per hour. You need to prescribe these medicines, as many as you can, or whatever it is. You need to order these tests. And so they're the puppet masters, and the doctors really aren't able to practice medicine. So direct primary care is cutting the insurance companies out of the primary care part of it. And they're doing a subscription-based model. So just like a gym membership, every month you pay for your gym membership, you have access to your gym pretty much all the time. So a direct primary care physician sets up a membership or a subscription, and then you have access to your doctor without the insurance company telling your doctor what to do. And I went into it super in depth. The point being is that direct primary care physicians are dying to get the word out there. They have money to go and invest in getting their message to the public. And right now it's a very kind of undercover. There's not a lot of people that have heard about direct primary care. So they're trying to get the information out there so they can start to fill up their practices and get more subscriptions and pull people away from the insurance-based medical practices. So definitely go check out the training, Scott, because we went over it. Everything from what questions to ask discovery-wise, what strategy put together, and then how to actually close the deal in a sales meeting. So that's all in the group. It was all live streamed and recorded.
I'll definitely go check that out. Is it mostly, I was just curious off the top of my head here, is it mostly like strategies for growing it, or are they looking at actually making content to like educate, their patients as well? Or is it kind of twofold? Are they looking to do that too? Or is it just more ads and getting out there?
No, so it's very well rounded. Obviously, they're trying to get their subscriptions up, right? So they can have a full book of patients. So that's, they got to make revenue. But they're also, the ones that I've worked with are partnering with independent insurance agents because you're still going to need insurance in case you get in a car accident and your primary care physician can't take care of you. So you're still going to need some sort of insurance. So smart direct primary care physicians and smart independent insurance companies are kind of coming together and creating more of a package where you're saving on insurance, getting a lot of primary care taken care of, and only carrying the insurance that you need. So you obviously had to educate people on how that works. Also, one of the big things for my clients was they want to provide a medical benefit to small businesses. So think of any big corporation that you've ever worked for, if you've ever worked for one, right? Usually they have a benefits package that includes your healthcare. So you pay every month and they negotiate a rate with US Healthcare or Blue Cross Blue Shield or whatever it is, and you have health benefits. You got your insurance through your work. And that's great for the big giant corporations or bigger places, but for small to medium-sized businesses, they struggle to be able to afford to purchase that insurance for their, or those benefits for their employees. So they want to give some sort of benefit to their employees. What my DPC doctors wanted to do was to provide that medical benefit where the employer could purchase the subscriptions for their employees and provide them their direct primary care, which I thought was super cool, super outside the box. And it got them into a position where instead of getting one-off people, like one-off families to subscribe, now they're getting, 15 families from this small business or 25 families from this small business, something of that nature. So that was huge for them. But again, that has to be an education piece for the consumer as well as any small business partners that they have. And then they had other stuff too. Obviously, it's a new industry or a new part of the industry. So they're constantly educating people on how it works. So, frequently asked question videos are huge just because every time somebody asks a question, it's probably going to ask like 30 or 40 times and it just eats up their time. So that was the majority of the work that I did for the DPC stuff.
I was going to say, it's really cool when I saw you post about this, because I didn't realize it was becoming such a big thing. I had heard about this kind of a thing through CrossFit, like about a year, like maybe 2 years ago. There was a different company, I don't remember the name of it, like somebody's starting up to do it. I didn't realize it had become such a broad thing and so many people were trying to do it, which kind of makes sense now, maybe especially through COVID. So I think maybe, that became something they realized they should start doing. And I love it. I love this trend.
If there is one industry that I would say, listen, go try to get in there, because the snowball they started pushing it up the hill and now it's going to start to go down the hill and it's going to pick up a lot of steam. If you can be the person that helps DPCs get that message out there in your area, there's plenty of them out there and you can look them up. Let me tell you what, and they're a tight-knit community. They network with each other. They have conferences with each other. They're constantly asking each other, what are you doing that's working well? What's not working well? And as soon as you get in with one, you can get in with 2 and then 5 and then 10. And then all of a sudden you have this book of clients that you can book and make a lot of money filming in this industry. It's right now, it's that untapped gold mine for sure.
Sweet. Thanks.
Of course. What other questions, guys? Let me go over to Facebook and see if I've missed any questions here. I see Ben Cryer had a question. How to approach a company and pitch the idea of filming for them? That is an extremely broad question, Ben. Ben, did you hop on the call? Did I see your name on here? Hop on. Ben.
Hey, yes, I'm on the call.
What's up, brother? How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Good. Did you spend that B&H gift card yet?
I've not yet. I'm trying to decide what to spend it on.
Well, everything's backordered anyways, so get it soon. So that way you can get it in the next 2 or 3 months or whatever. Okay, so your question is how to approach. Be a little bit more specific. How to approach in what way? There's a lot of ways that you can generate a lead and a lot of ways that you can approach it once the lead is generated. So where are you at with this?
Yeah, so I guess what I'm struggling with is I've got the video skills. I feel like I don't have any concerns about being able to produce high quality content for a business. But what I'm struggling with is how do I make that initial contact? Should I be going into these places with a business card and dropping it off? Should I be emailing? Should I call them? So it's really just that initial contact to get the conversation steered in the direction of, hey, this is what I do. I'm a video strategist. I have the ability to help get your message out there. Let's talk.
Okay, let me ask you this. How are you currently trying to do this? How are you trying, like, what, yeah, how are you currently trying to make connections and ask these questions?
So currently, if I, go into a business, I will drop off a business card. If I see a need for marketing or room for growth in that area for them. I've also started implementing your idea to do the like video emails and just, thanking them for their time and letting them know, that I'd love to chat and be able to give them referrals. So those are kind of the two methods that I've done. And I don't know, I don't want to beat around the bush. Like I want to just be able to go in and say, this is something I noticed and I've got the skills to help you.
Sure.
Let's sit down and chat. So I don't know if that's the best method or not though.
Okay, so I'll tell you what I've done and what's worked well for me. And not to say that this is the best way or not the best way, because there's a million different ways to get around this and actually get people to say yes. So when I launched my business, I went hard on the networking, and I talk about it all the time. I went to as many networking groups as I possibly could. I would go to like 4 or 5 networking groups per day and try to schedule at least 2 one-on-one sessions, so I could sit down and have coffee with anybody from those networking groups, at least 2 per day. And I filled up my schedule with as many of these as possible. And the reason I wanted to do this, as opposed to trying to walk into a business and generate interest, is because when you walk into a business and generate interest, or try to anyways, they're not expecting it and they're not in the mind frame of, I want to talk in this way, right? It's almost like you're soliciting something. You're coming in here and into my place of business and trying to sell me something. You should be coming to buy me something, which I always think is kind of weird. And again, I'm not saying that that's not a good way. Zach, when we call it the Sandlot deal, right? The Sandlot, he walks in there and closes the deal just by walking in and introducing himself. So it's definitely possible. But for me, networking was the way to go, because I was going to be talking to people who actually wanted to have conversations and either do business with each other or refer business to each other. So that's my one way. And I went from 0 clients, $0, launched my business. Within about 9 months of really going hard in networking, I started to get referrals. I started to get leads. I started to close deals. And then by about 15 or 16 months, it was already a snowball, dude. I think I was at like $200,000 in business from the date that I launched my business. And most of that came from networking. So that's my number one way. My second way is, putting yourself out there on social media. I know it sounds like, okay, everybody says this, and it's, it is true though. I mean, the largest deal I ever landed, I got because somebody found me on LinkedIn, and I'm not even on LinkedIn a lot, but they reached out to me and said, hey, I like the stuff that I saw on your LinkedIn page. I'd like to talk to you. And then, a few months later, we had a big 6-figure contract on the books. So there's no secret to it, dude. You just got to go out there, meet people, schedule one-on-ones, and have as many one-on-ones as possible, and put content where people can see it so that they can reach out to you and express interest instead of you reaching out and trying to sell them something.
Cool. Sounds good. I appreciate that.
Of course. Okay. What other questions, guys, about working with any of these industries? Let me check Facebook, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, we're good.
I got one too, a question also.
Go for it.
Like one of the limitations is, depending on where you live, there's limits to how you can meeting people in person. I know like in Texas, just a little more lenient on what kind of stuff you can do in person. Do you recommend in person for these type of things? Or would you say video Zoom conferences do just well? Like which one's better than the other? One's good for convenience, one's good for sending the deal because you're meeting eye to eye, like that kind of thing.
Yeah, and we actually just talked about that a little bit, Alan, so I'll reiterate on this. There's no excuse for not networking. COVID, no COVID, whatever. If you want to close a deal, you got to find a way to get in front of people, right? Look here, okay, there's probably, for example, right, we're on a Zoom session. There might be people here from the free group. Obviously, I sell a course and we're having a conversation here. They might end up buying my course. So I'm finding a way to connect regardless of your location, regardless of COVID, regardless of restrictions, regardless of any of that. Okay, there's more than enough networking groups. And quite honestly, even though I enjoy meeting people in person, I'm really enjoying the fact that from an efficiency standpoint, I can knock out 5, 6, 7 one-on-one conversations in a day from my office, as opposed to maybe getting 2 per day by driving to South Austin and then driving to Round Rock and dealing with traffic and stopping for lunch and all that stuff. Like, I really enjoy the fact that I can meet here, have really awesome conversations, and meet people who are doing the same thing that I'm doing. There's plenty of networking opportunities out there, even if they're not meeting in person.
Cool, solid, solid. I just like to also hear it so I can reiterate and just kind of like get it embedded in my mind. Like every option I got, I'm going for. Especially, with the practice from yesterday.
I'm gonna give you guys a challenge. I'm gonna put a challenge on the table. How many one-on-one conversations can you schedule this month? I want you to keep a track. I want you to set a goal in your head, and I want you to hit that goal. Okay. One-on-one conversations will lead to you landing business. I promise it will, but you have to go and have those conversations. You're never going to close any deals or as many as you want if you're not having conversations. One-on-ones are gold, and I have them all the time. That is a priority. It will always be. I could be doing $10 million in business, and I'm still going to want to be having one-on-one conversations with people that I have not met. That way we can pass business back and forth. Your network is your net worth. 100% true. It's not what you know, it's who knows you. 100% truth. Don't be afraid of going out with the restrictions that are right now and finding a way to connect with people.
Cool.
I get
Awesome.
passionate about this, dude. I'm like,
I like that. I like that.
Let's go. You know what I'm saying? I'm
Put
pumped
the feelings
up
on
about
the back
it, so.
shelf. Give us the results.
Yo, I believe it, man. Like it's when it's done right. You know what I'm saying? Like you showing us how to network last week. That was absolute fire, because I can meet with 87 people all freaking month, bro. And if I was doing it the way that I've been doing it, I'm gonna be like chasing my tail. But now implementing what you showed us last week, now I know that's gonna be a game changer, bro. So challenge accepted.
Now I will say this, Tomas. Networking is a skill, right? When I launched my business and I was like, okay, I'm gonna go network, dude. The first 2 months, I had no idea what the heck I was doing. I was stumbling on my words. I was afraid to talk in front of people, right? I'd have to stand up in this networking group and tell everybody my name and what I do. And I didn't know what the hell to say. And I was like, well, right. And then I'd go to these one-on-one conversations. I'd be like, okay, this is a possible lead. I have to make this happen. Like, I got to do this. And then I totally screw up the one-on-one conversation, and it's practice, dude. So what you learned and what I trained you on is a product of probably 300 or 400 one-on-one conversations.
Word.
Like that's it, right? And then you go practice and you get better and better and better. But Tomas, even though I sucked at it, dude, even though I was terrible at it when I first started, it still generated business for me. It took a little bit of time, but it generated business. And that's what it's all about.
Yeah. No, I found myself doing that last night, like fumbling on, just trying those new things out. But I'm like, yo, this is the growing pains. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just got to keep on going and practicing this. That way it comes off a lot smoother, a lot more, confident and all of that good stuff. So, yeah, man, I trust it.
Okay, cool. What other questions you guys have? Again, I'm doing this conversation because I looked back at the last about year and a half, I think it was. I calculated how much revenue I had made from certain industries, and there were 4 industries that stuck out. Home builders, as many of you guys know, I landed a giant deal with a home builder. We're currently on a $280,000 contract. We're going to be renegotiating the extension of that contract. So if we end up going and extending our contract, that'll push it up another 12 months. So that'll actually push it to a $400,000 contract for next year total for the entire amount of time that I'm working with them. So that was huge. DPCs, home services, and startup tech companies. So if you guys have questions about any of those industries, go ahead, open mic.
I have a question.
Send it.
What do you consider home services?
So home services, home and commercial services. So roofing companies, are awesome to work with. HVAC companies, the company that just installed my home security system, I paid them a crap ton of money to install an awesome system just because I have expensive stuff in here. And I obviously want to be safe and I want my fiance to be safe. So we spent a lot of money on that. Those are great. Pest control companies, your general contractors, basically any service that services a house. The reason that these work really, really well is because they're very accessible, especially in networking groups. If you go to a networking group, they're chock full of these services. And more times than not, you can get to the decision maker level pretty easily with who you're talking to through these networking opportunities. And they make enough money per transaction, per customer, in order to pay you high ticket dollar amounts. So these are companies that you can definitely go sell a trifecta to for $10,000 to $15,000, and they'll easily make that money back. But that's a $10,000, $15,000, $20,000 deal for you.
Thank you.
Of course. Yeah. Who was that? Sean, good to
Yes.
meet you. I don't think we've had a chance to connect, man. Glad to see you.
No, I just joined like recently. So thank you, man.
Of course, brother. Yeah. Hope to see you in here a little bit more often.
Yeah.
What other questions? Let me see if we have any on Facebook. Nope, nothing on Facebook. I'm gonna start calling people out because there's got to be questions. All right, Brian, do you have any questions?
What about the tech industry that you've worked with? Do you mostly do like fundraiser videos for a tech industry, or do you just go into tech industry and say like, and do a discovery and do the whole like unload on them? Like, what tech industries do you find you've worked with, and how do you usually approach them?
Thank you. Okay, good question. So my approach is the same. Approach is the same thing, right? So if either I've sent something that generates their interest and they want to talk more, or they flat out reach out to me, my process is the same, right? I'm still going to say, hey, listen, I'm interested in working with you, but I need to learn about your company. I need to learn about your priorities. I got to learn all this stuff. So I'm going to take you through the discovery process. That's my process to make sure that my clients get the results they're looking for. Are you okay with that? Yeah. Okay, cool. So I always take them through a discovery process. Now, I've worked with a few companies that are called fintech, financial tech industry companies. And what you're going to find that tech companies are usually doing, especially at the startup phase, is they are trying to raise investment capital. Okay. That's what I found anyway. So they're not really looking for customers per se. They might be, but really what they're looking for is an angel investor or a venture capitalist to come and say, okay, here, I'm going to give you $20 million to go and make this a big thing, or, advance this technology. So the tech startups that you're easily able to access, most of them are going to say, I need help getting investors to invest in my company. And how do we do that? And there's a lot of ways that you can do that. There's a lot of distribution methods. There's, crowdfunding campaigns, which my companies have done, crowdfunding campaigns, which are awesome, or even just direct, like we're going into meetings and I have to make a presentation to this VC, venture capitalist or angel investor, and I'd like to have an awesome video to show off our product or service. So that's primarily what I've done, and it's worth it to them, right? They want somebody to invest $20 million in their startup. Well, guess what? That's a $20 million problem. If you want to solve a $20 million problem, you're going to have to pay a pretty good penny to make that happen, right? So when you talk about video production, is this necessary to be able to do that? A crowdfunding campaign, you're going to need video, period. You're not going to reach your crowdfunding amount if you don't have video strategy in your in your plan. So it's necessary. All right. So you're going to pay a lot for it if you want 20 million. If you're going to be doing these one-on-one conversations or individual pitches to VCs, and you want this video, is it necessary? If you feel it's necessary and you want $20 million to come your way, then me charging you $20,000 is a pretty good amount because of the upside potential to that. Does that make sense, Derek?
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, $20,000 seems quite generous.
Cheap as heck. Yeah, I mean, real cheap. In fact, one of the very first clients that I landed, right, pretty close to when I launched my business, was a financial tech company, and I created some stuff for them. I think it was like $7,000. I was pretty new. I think that was like the fourth or fifth deal that I landed. I don't know. I don't even remember. But yeah, $20,000 is small, especially when they want, big dollars in investments coming their way. The bigger the problem you solve, the bigger payment you are going to get, the more value you have. And that's just the nature of it.
So I've worked with a tech startup, and I did a couple of videos for them, and they were just kind of like, they requested the videos, and then I looked at what they were doing, and I was like, oh man, they could be doing so much more. But I didn't know how to really approach it back then. So I'm thinking, and this was probably about 6 months ago, I'm thinking it's probably not too late for me to reach back out and be like, hey guys, I got an idea for you.
You know what? Absolutely. Right. So here's how I would reach back out to them and just say, hey, hope you guys are doing well. Wanted to check in and see how things are going. Also wanted to let you know that on my end, I've been doing a lot of studying and developing my knowledge of video strategy, overall video strategies. And looking back at what we've done, I think that we can build upon that to take what we created and make it even more effective to reaching your goals. You guys open to a conversation about that so I can give you some new ideas? And usually they'll be like, sure, okay, let's hear what you have to say. You've already done work for them. Let's hear what you have to say, especially if they were happy with the first work. You think you can be more successful or give us more value? Let's sit down and have that conversation. 100%, I would suggest reaching out to them.
Cool. Yeah, they were pretty passive. They were pretty like, I guess we just kind of want a video. But back then, I feel like I wasn't confident enough to be like, no, trust me, you need a video and you need this stuff. Where now I'm to the point where like, I'm ready.
Right. And this is kind of one of those things where I always say you have to build your reputation, right? It's hard to do this when you're very first starting out and they're like, I only want one video. And now that you know that one video is probably not going to solve their problem, you have the dilemma of, okay, do I create the one video for you and you try to make something happen of it and you don't get any results? And now all of a sudden I have a reputation of not getting results from my clients. I need revenue to come to my video production company. So I'm going to take this deal, even though I know that it's not going to work. That's hard to do, to pass up on that. But eventually you're going to have to get to a point where you're going to have to tell them, listen, one of my priorities in business is making sure that I have a reputation of making sure my clients get results. I don't think that this one video or these two videos is going to get you the results that you want. I think that you need this at the minimum, whatever that is, sales trifecta, investment videos, whatever. This set of videos is the minimum. If you're not comfortable with this, I certainly understand. I'm not here to pressure you into buying anything. But if you're not comfortable with this, then I'm not your person for you. And that's mainly because I don't want to waste your time and money. And I certainly don't want the reputation of my clients not getting the results they want, right? And standing your ground on that and having that reputation built, it goes a long way. It's hard to pass up on those deals when they're landing in your lap. But saying no, more times than not, will get them to come back and say, you know what, after we've thought about this, let's just go ahead and do your plan, because you're right. We got to get the results, and there's no sense in spending time and money and not getting the results.
Absolutely. And that's a whole other conversation that I feel like we could have like for an hour is just the reputation conversation, which I have to think about more often as well. So that's terrific. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. I got a question on Facebook. Steve Richardson. Value-based pricing question for you. Do you take into account your client's overhead when coming up with your price? For example, I'm talking with a roofing company in my BNI. They said an average roof costs $10,000. That's pretty par for the course. $10,000 to replace. So if I bring in 5 new clients, that makes them $50,000 homeowner. They have material costs, labor costs, et cetera. So their take home will obviously be less. How does that factor into value-based pricing? Really, really, really good question, Steve. I'm glad you asked this. Your profit for any business is going to be dependent on how that business is managed. The roofing company that you're potentially working with is being managed by somebody, and they're making decisions on how to spend money. So you might find somebody that's okay, let's take the same company and just imagine hypothetically they're managed in parallel universes by two different managers, right? Same company, two different managers. One person might manage it and get a super high profit margin, right? Other person might manage it and get a very narrow profit margin. Just because they have profit margin fluctuations, that's nothing that you can control. I can't control how much profit, right? If they go spend $20,000 on their holiday Christmas party or whatever, and that they don't profit as much, that's not anything that I can control, right? What I can control is getting people to their doorstep so they can close more deals. So my value-based pricing approach, I don't take that into account, right? However they manage their business is how much profit margin they're going to have. I hope that makes sense. Does that make sense to y'all? Okay, cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Steve,
Yeah, that makes sense.
I hope that made sense to you, right? It's however they run their business. Right? You could have 0% profit, and then somebody else comes in and turns that company around, and all of a sudden they have a 40% profit. It's all management. Okay, what else? Let me see if I have anything on Facebook. Nope, nothing on Facebook.
Could you repeat what those other three industries were? I think you said tech, DPC. What were the other two that you mentioned as well?
Custom home builders and home services industries.
So custom home builders, that's a good one. I noticed like immediately around the corner, actually like on the same road that my house is on, they built a full, like complete neighborhood. Like they paved the ground, they built the whole neighborhood. It's an interlaced neighborhood, and I actually think like a couple of families purchased it and had it built out. Is that what you're referring to? Was like, hey, those companies that are doing that process? What would you say is a good way to get your foot in the door in that case? Like you see the company's name is there, just call them up and say, hey, I see you doing work in this area. Without saying, hey, I think I got a video that'd be cool for you because, so hopefully it's not something that you mentioned before already, but if you see that they're doing business nearby, would that be a really good sign for you to say, hey, let me go contact, Bravo Construction, for example?
So it's funny when I was building this house, the one that we're living in now, when we first started looking, we were going into all these home builders, right? We were going to their showrooms, we were going to their model homes, and we were checking them all out. And honestly, when I was there, I'd ask them, do you guys have videos that I could see? Because I want to see what your houses look like. Because when you go to these developments, they have like one, maybe two model homes. And you're like, okay, cool. But like, what does it look like? Do you guys have any 4-bedroom plans, or do you have any plans with this feature, or 2 stories or 1 stories? And maybe they don't have it there for you to physically walk in, right? And they're like, yeah, we do, but it's on the other side of Texas. Well, crap, I can't walk. Do you have any videos that I could see? No, we don't. Oh, okay. So like I kind of started that conversation with a few of them. And then I'd be like, the reason I ask is because this is what I do. I create videos for, video strategies for custom home builders. Do you mind if I get the contact information for your director of marketing? I'd love to speak with them. And the salespeople would be like, it would be really helpful if we had some videos to show off like what that design might look like, or what that floor plan or whatever. And I got like 2 or 3 directors of marketing, and I just reached out to them via Soapbox video emails. So that's a good way to go about it. Networking, if you're working with general contractors, or if general contractors, a lot of times they can get you in contact, with home builders. So yeah, there's a lot of ways to get in contact with them. And once you're in, like honestly, I can't believe how many videos we've created for this one company that I'm working with. We're going to be going into our 3rd year. In the first year, we did a 15-month contract, then a 12-month contract, and then we're about to do another 12-month contract. The amount of content that we've created in different video types is just I never thought that I would figure out this many videos to create. And here we are creating new videos that I hadn't thought about two years ago. And it's strung out, and they pay a lot of money for them.
It's funny you say that. I actually remember I mentioned some. You was like, "That's the next batch of videos I'm going to give to them."
What,
It's like an interview of like the employees or something like that. Like, welcome, I'm the person that's in this position or in this area. Here's what I do.
dude, we haven't even gotten to that series yet. We've got series lined up. The last series that we did, it was really cool how we did it. So whenever you go to somebody's brand new house, right, for their housewarming party, and you knock on the door and they come, "Hey, what's going on?" Like, what's the first thing that happens when you come into their house?
First thing you do is you look around to see if it's something you like.
And they
Yeah,
want
you
to
don't
show
really
you
know.
around.
That's it
Yeah.
right there. Derek,
Yeah.
they want to give you the grand tour, right? They say, "Let me give you the grand tour. Okay, we're going to go, and this is our kitchen, and this is our awesome bathroom, and this is our game room," and all this nonsense, right? So my home builder client, I reached out to them. I said, "I have this brilliant idea. Every time that somebody walks into somebody's new home, they get a grand tour. So why don't we have a series of videos where we have a representative of your company go and get a grand tour of the customers' homes, and we film that?" And they were like, "That's a good idea." And then we kind of put it together and we made it happen. So we filmed. In fact, Raphael, who's in the club, I hired him to come be a second shooter, came with me, and we went out to Fort Worth. And the lady who's got this amazing home, she had already filmed a testimonial for the company, right? So I'm always filming testimonials. She gave a grand tour to the marketing lady from my client, and we just followed them around, and they talked about their selections. They talked about, "Oh, I selected this backsplash, and oh, I selected this tub, and I liked this brick and this stone." And we created an entire walkthrough where the customer was showing it off, which is a video in itself. But then we incorporate it into a live stream. Twice a week, my client does a live stream where they answer questions, just very much like we're doing right here. They answer questions from everywhere, and they broke down the big video that we created of that grand tour into little sections, right? So as they talked about this floor plan, they would play the little section of the video where they walk into the living room. They'd pause the video, they'd talk about, and then on the live stream, they talk about that living room, the selections, they'd answer questions, and they'd say, "Okay, let's go to the kitchen." And then they would play that next section of the video. And it was just a very versatile video. And now they're like, "We love this idea. We love the way that this came together. We want a whole bunch more of them." And I'm like, "Sweet. Okay, cool. That'll be great content for the next 12 months.
That's dope. So you basically gave them like many tools they can always pull out to kind of give the example of something, almost like they're doing live news and they just always got footage ready.
Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
That's
So, and like I said, I didn't think about that 2 years ago, but it's working out great now. It's just, what are their needs? What do they want? They want bingeable content for their potential customers to see. And now we've got a whole series of videos that we're going to be creating. Custom home builders. We're going to do, you guys want to do a club throwdown and do like we did with the DPCs for custom home builders?
Yep.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yes.
That'd be good. Okay. We got to have more people attend.
Oh, yeah.
A small group. So we got to have a big group. And we can totally go over like discovery. What questions do we need to ask during a discovery session to be able to create a strategy? Then we'll create a big O strategy, and we'll probably throw in a lot of the videos that I've created, and you guys might even come up with good videos. And then we can do another sales meeting, a role play sales meeting where we can close a deal. So I'm down to do that as well if you guys want.
Building off of what you did, David, we actually did like an architectural digest version with the whole family of a client for a builder. And that
Cool.
turned out pretty neat too. So that's another sort of idea.
Tell me a little bit more about it. Explain that idea.
Well, they wanted MTV Crib style, but I felt that was a little, like when I went back and watched old episodes of MTV Cribs, I was like, that's not really your market. And so then I sent them some of the architectural digest ones. I think Jessica Alba and some other people did it. And so it's similar to like taking them around, but instead of like a marketing person, they were taking the viewer around. So like it was just me and my camera and then the family.
Nice.
But it's basically like a series. They didn't bite on it for more, but I pitched it as something that they could gift to all their new home buyers because they wanted the memory of the house too when it was new, but also something that they could use to showcase, and they do use it to showcase. So it's like a testimonial and a walkthrough all in one.
Very cool.
Kind of
I dig
style.
that.
So it was pretty cool. I could post it in the group.
Please do. Yeah, post it.
Yeah.
And post the strategy behind it, post the thought process behind it, post what it's meant to achieve or what it's going to get people to do. Because
Yeah.
we want people to take an action when they see a video.
Yep.
So I'd love to see that. I'm finding the video that I made. Hang on.
I do have a question when you get a chance.
Yeah, let me hang on a second. 2 seconds.
Okay.
I'm gonna put a link to this video in this chat so you guys can go check it out after the fact. Just copy it and paste it or whatever. But this is the walkthrough video or the grand tour video that we did. Okay, who had the question?
Allie.
Go ahead, Allie.
What is your honest sort of, I know you're a big networker, but like, how do you really feel about cold calls? So like when we started our real estate business, I basically followed some advice, like don't quit until you talk to like over a certain amount of agents. And I did that. And that is what grew our business. And some of the agents like that because I was upfront and seeking and I had value to offer. But like, how do you really feel about that? Because like even like, I think, was it Alan was saying, like there's builders in your neighborhood and you go on their website and you see they're not doing anything. Like, is it, if we really have value to offer, is it really bad to receive a cold call from somebody?
No, it's not bad, right? So my feelings on it is that I don't like it. It's just not my style. And I tried it, right? So I tried a few things when I launched my company, and cold calling was one of those things. And I tried to do it I was like, you know what? I'm in full-time filmmaker, which a lot of you guys are, right? And a lot of people in that group are trying to do real estate and go do these tours, and they're trying to work with real estate agents. So I was like, okay, I'm going to try that and let's see how it works. And I made this giant spreadsheet of all these real estate agents. There's like 16,000 real estate agents in Austin.
Yeah.
And I just went hard. I went at it for like a week. And like the amount of interest that I generated was like so small. And I was so tired of making phone calls. And the only people that did answer were people that thought that I was going to buy or sell a home or use their service. And then once they found out otherwise, for me, it just wasn't my style. I'm not saying that it doesn't work. There's plenty of people out there that are cold call beasts.
It might depend on where you live too. Like I live in it's a big city, but it's a coastal North Carolina city. And it's small enough to where I'm still only one of a handful of real estate videographers, you know, and it's small enough to where the people that are actually doing video, you pretty much know the same companies that are doing it. Like there's a lot of new startups, but like people here stick with the same people essentially. So is that a little different, you think? Or
I honestly, I'm going to say that sounds, I don't agree with that. I don't think the area matters. I think for me, it wasn't my style. It didn't fit me. You can cold call in you know, on the little southern coast. You can cold call in New York. You can cold call in the middle of Montana. If you're good at it, there's businesses everywhere that want to grow. There's businesses everywhere that need what we have. If that's your style and you're good at it, you can totally do that. And I know several people that are out there just doing it and getting a lot of business. It just wasn't for me. It wasn't my style. I didn't like it. And I went to other methods.
Gotcha.
I got something I'd like to chime in on that.
Go for it.
I mean, you know, it's kind of, for me, it's about like the amount of time you spend for how much you're making. And so, you know, like David, with your course, you know, we're going after these, like, you know, instead of say maybe going after shooting homes for a realtor, you go after a builder. Like, to me, it's just chasing pennies unless you're finding people that have $1 million homes and you've got like a really good client. It's out there, people make good money, but overall, I don't know. I avoid that too, kind of like you did, David. It's just not my style, just because I'm like, you know, maybe go after a branch, like shoot corporate things for the company, or you can find realtors that want branding content for themselves. But trying to shoot homes, it's just such a volatile, quick turnover.
Well,
that
yeah,
I'm just
not
like,
shooting homes, but I mean like reaching out to businesses and stuff, just cold calling, like, or walking in saying, hey, I shop here. Like, even if it's a place you frequent, like, you know, I come here regularly and I've, you know, got exposed to this and, you know, notice you don't have any videos.
Here's how I would approach this, Allie, is that if you want to do that, I would do it in the mind frame of, I want to create a relationship with you as a business owner. So I'm walking in and I'm saying, hey, I come and shop here all the time. I'm a business owner. I like to network with other business owners so I can pass business back and forth. Would you guys be interested in having a one-on-one conversation so I can know a little bit more about your business, so I know if I can send people over to you? And I approach it like that,
Yeah.
as opposed to, I want to sell you something. Because if you're not in the mind frame of being sold to, you're just not prepared to buy anything, right? If I walk in there and if somebody walks into my place of business and they're trying to sell me something and I'm just not there, I'm going to tune them out and I'm not going to hear what they have to say. But if they're coming to me to build a relationship or just get to know me, then that's a better situation for me. That's my take on it. But again, there's people that walk into businesses, they start up a conversation, they generate a sales meeting or a discovery meeting, sales meeting, they close a deal. Just not my style.
Gotcha. Cool.
Cool.
Thanks.
Okay. I'll do one more question. It's been kind of a little bit quiet with the questions. So if you guys have more questions, we'll answer one more and then we'll call it an evening. Okay, I guess we'll call it an evening. Guys, this week has been awesome. All the trainings that we've done last week has been awesome. If you guys missed the training, specifically the how to turn the one-on-ones into leads, and then the one where we closed the deal last night with the DPC, highly recommend that you guys go watch that. If you're watching in the free group and you want more information about our club, hit me up. The Real Deal Video Strategist Club. It looks like almost everybody in here is part of our club. A few visitors, which is awesome. If you guys have questions about our club, let us know.
Hey, David.
Yeah.
One question about the videos that you're talking about.
Sure.
I'm a little bit new to the group, and so I'm wondering, is there a place where we have all of these videos and resources compiled, even like a Google Doc with the links, or do we just search the Facebook group? How does that work?
They're live streamed into the Facebook group, and I've started to live stream them to YouTube. So if the Facebook group is a little bit too busy, because we have a lot of people posting in there, go follow the YouTube page. And all of these trainings for the most part are in the YouTube page, but it's probably a good idea that I compile them somewhere, and let me figure that out. I might just upload them to the course. In fact, that might be the smartest thing to do. Upload them.
That would be
to the
super
actual
cool.
course. That would make a lot of sense, right? I don't know why I didn't think of that. Okay. Yeah.
I've just been hearing about a ton of like amazing resources that you guys are talking about that I missed. And it's like, where do I find this stuff? I need to just take an afternoon and watch through these videos. So that would be amazing.
You got it. Okay. I'll work on that next week. Okay, cool. Any other questions? Good to go.
I was going to say, David, make a live stream section of the course. That'd be cool just to go through and browse those.
Yeah, I think we can do that. That makes sense. All of them are recorded anyways. I record them locally, so I'll go upload them to the course sometime next week. Cool. All right, guys. Hey, go crush it. I'm kind of signing out until next week. I'm taking a little vacation to New York, so I'm gonna go have a good time, and I hope you guys have a good end of the week. And we'll be back next week doing good stuff again. All right. Deuces.
Thanks, David.
You're very